defence has just been rolled out the paint, and Perth Glory will get us underway. Nick D'Agostino and Nick Sullivan have both headed out onto the pitch, half-time substitutes for Perth Glory. Plenty of rain-related music. Getting a run this afternoon, Perth Glory, with a false start. Kurt Am's unhappy.
Well, I don't know how he judged the players encroached in the centre circle, because there is no centre circle. Anyway,
we're good to go. Perth Glory looking to end that two-match losing run as they get us underway in the second half. And Diego Castro swiftly after the ball, and it has just continued raining over half-time. They've had the super soffers out there just to try and soak up a bit of the water, but still pretty heavy going, especially that area of the pitch where Diego Castro is.
Well, Perth most definitely played that ball out. Still got the throw in.
Castro now finds Otter. That ball aiming for Fornaroli. Saw his danger at the end of that first half, scoring the equaliser for Perth Glory. So Nick D'Agostino out on the pitch now and pushing forward. Sliding it forward for Diego Castro. Silky skills, Keogh, back to D'Agostino. 4 goals for Nick this season. And there's the other Nick who's just come onto the pitch, Nick Sullivan. So what impact do you think those changes will have? So Sullivan on for Ingham, and Armiento is headed off, replaced by D'Agostino.
Well, in terms of Sullivan coming on for Dane Ingham, I think that would have been more of a fact that he's worried about Dane Ingham getting sent off, especially because of the conditions. He may have been a little bit disappointed as well about some of his end product in the positions that he got into. In terms of D'Agostino coming on for Armiento, I don't know if Armiento was 100% fit, because I thought he actually done well in the first half, floating around, supporting the attack when he needed to, getting back when he needed to as well. But what D'Agostino does give you is a genuine ability to score goals, and especially to come from deep, and whether that be with his feet or with his head. We've seen that before. There's no doubt about that. And I think taking a little bit of a snapshot from that last 10-15 minutes, and we saw with the actual goal and some of the crosses by Otto as well, Harps, Richard Garcia and Steve McGarry and his staff would have said, look, listen, you know, considering what we saw, the conditions, let's start whipping that ball in, and D'Agostino, we want you to get on the end of this.
Tongik, big left boot through it. Orenya giving chase. Luke Bodnar got a touch in there, the man on debut for Perth Glory. Now D'Agostino, good turn away from Clisby. It's really going to add that pace down the right, as Loza said. A goal-scoring threat, 4 goals this season for Nick D'Agostino, but none in his last 4. So a little bit of a rut as Bazak just knocks it up and around the corner. It has crossed the line though.
A little confusing for all concerned there. Mariners thought it might have been an advantage free kick. Then thought it was their throw, and then finally it's a Perth throw. We got there in the end, yeah.
It's been one of those slow days. Keogh. And Otter, there it is, sitting in the turf. Fornaroli was almost played in again there. Neat ball up and over the top. And now to Silva, lashing it forward in front of Bowman.
Great work from Kilkenny. You're never quite sure what the pitch is going to do as it bounces or gets ready to bounce, if it's going to skid past you or get stuck in a puddle. It was right on his blind side. Perth have started well, really well.
Keogh versus Tongik in that duel right then and there. Kilkenny set up the goal for Fornaroli, his 6th assist of the season. Former Premier League man, Neil Kilkenny and Socceroo, Castro. Good defensive work there from Josh Nisbet. Just thwarted the Spaniard. Wilson in a little bit of a pickle, but Castro's able to profit with possession. Fornaroli, and then D'Agostino had a slash at goal, an air swing in the end.
Well, this is now where the Mariners have got into trouble this year, this season, on the times when they have been pressured, is the inability, once they've so bravely defended their own penalty area, these balls out now. First half, they were making a link and attacking from there. Back end of the first half and the start of this half, they're not getting a foot on the ball and the pressure keeps building. It's what Stajic has really tried to, or is in the process of really trying to mend and focus on.
The Zanuck. He's going to ask a fair bit of De Silva, but he put the afterburners on Danny. Free kick going Perth's way. A win for the Mariners this afternoon sends them 8 points clear at the top of the table. Of course, Melbourne City with game in hand. Perth Glory desperate to win. They're in that log jam of teams in the middle of the table. They're currently in 8th place. It's been their away form, which has been a little concerning. Just 2 wins from 5.
Here it is again. Ball coming back. Mariners consigned to defensive mode only at the moment, and it's just a big ask every game if that's how it's going to develop.
You can see just how tight that ladder is around the middle. Perth with a few matches in hand, but they're not wins in hand. They've got to win those matches. So key for the Glory, especially on the road. Castro. Fornaroli returns it to Castro. Linking wide and right for Sullivan. Pirigidi palms it away.
Castro wanted the ball cut back. The more Castro is able to conduct the orchestra, the more trouble for the Mariners. So their first task is to get someone to settle on the ball and start controlling their own possession. It's too early for Mikhail Yanota to come off the bench and do that, I think, but that's the type of role he's performed. And the second one I'm going to throw to you, Boz, just for consideration. It's rarely spoken about in modern football that Josh Nisbet has done as good a job one-on-one with Castro as anyone's done today. Do you say, right, for the next little bit, Josh, make sure Diego doesn't get anywhere near our goal with the ball? Do you give?
I'd be tempted.
A man-on-man job, because
I hear what you're saying. I'd be very tempted. But the one thing that always, in my mind, that always makes me reluctant to say that, because I had the experience of one of our players at the time at Aston Villa, Earl Barrett, being told to man mark Eric Cantona. Very similar player, Eric Cantona, for those who don't know, in terms of what he did for the team. I mean, Eric Cantona was in a different planet in terms of as a player. But he's very similar what he did for the team. We'll just let this action go a bit. So very similar to what he did for the team in terms of what Diego Castro does. And if you've got a very smart player, which I'm sure Diego Castro is, he started taking Earl Barrett, Cantona everywhere all around the pitch, and it completely just undone all our shape and everything. In the end, it was kind of like he didn't know what to do. That's what always makes me reluctant. Yeah. Because of the success that he's had, especially during this little period by Perth, I think it's so important that the Mariners don't concede here. Maybe.
Sullivan just surging forward into some open pastures, but the final pass was disappointing from a Perth perspective. De Silva has Nisbet over on the left, opts right for Stefan Negro. Matt Simon unmarked at the back post, but the offside flag is up. Kurt Adams may not have spotted it. He's going to call play to a halt now.
I'm also interested, Andy, in what you said about substitutions, because if this pressure continues by Perth, well, you know, we know in football anything can happen, but they look as though that they are going to score.
Yeah.
When would you start thinking to yourself, all right, you know what, boys, we might have to change this around a little bit?
Well, exactly, Boz. And, you know, I wouldn't even consider putting Josh Nisbet in a man-on-man situation if my team was securing their share of possession and we weren't under that pressure. So the first job, as I said, is to get someone to put their foot on the ball and take the heat out of the game in transition. So I'm giving them, to more directly answer your question, I'm giving them another few minutes just to see if we can actually start playing again, as we were so effective at doing in that first half. But I'm not waiting much longer than that.
And then what?
And then Janota
or
in.
Or Stensness.
Perhaps Stensness. Well, there's a question mark over Gianni's fitness, and he's back in the squad.
And Janota was excellent the other night against MacArthur.
He's got the bag of tricks. That's what you want. Just
Latchman up and over the top onto the shoulder of Sullivan. Brought it down well enough in the end, and now going to roll it back to Brandon Wilson. 5 starts for him this season, 3 off the bench. So Richard Garcia just trying to search for that perfect midfield combination. Latchman back to Otter. And then Castro and Keogh linking up. Bodnar got the touch, and it's going to fall into the arms of Mark Birighitti. We just saw moments ago, there's only one Mariner warming up at the moment as Birighitti gives the ball away to Nick Sullivan. Can Perth make the Mariners pay for another poor turnover? D'Agostino took a deflection. It's going to be a corner.
I think the most likely sub is going to be Alu Kual on for Urenya, who's looks to be gassed. Hasn't been moving as freely in this second half. He was dynamic in that first, which was great. But the ball keeps going out to the centre circle and the Mariners can't secure it. Perth keep coming back. Deflection goes out for the corner. Desperately defended by the Mariners, one-on-one there. Negro diving in.
So Otter's going to whip this one in. Keogh was stooping. Latchman was lining up to strike it at goal. Otter just left it because he knew he was offside.
Yeah, did he touch it? If he doesn't touch it, it's a throw-in, which is a much more advantageous situation for Perth to defend than a free kick.
So you can see Alu Kual getting his instructions.
Now this is bizarre. I'd love to see if Otter touched that.
Well, he definitely didn't touch it.
So if he leaves it, like, if that's going towards goal and the striker steps over, it's play on.
Yeah, I'm not.
So this should be a throw-in.
I'm not 100% certain about that, but what I am 100% certain about is you're exactly right. It's a much better position that Perth have got Central Coast Mariners taking a throw-in in their own corner. So that's maybe why we'll have to ask Job Bilowski about that. That's maybe why Kurt Ems, you know, gives him the free kick for offside. The funny thing is the linesman didn't have his flag up. Maybe he told him on his earpiece.
De Silva. Mariners have been penned in this second half. As Perth push forward through Otter. They've been fantastic since the goal. The Glory, and trying to ram home their advantage at the moment. Latchman, who's clipped by Simon, gave up the chase on the ball.
It's as good as the Mariners can do at the moment, is to pull a shirt and stop the flow. They can't get the ball.
Here's a changes.
So Alu Kual on the way, as per usual, around the hour mark. And the goal scorer, Marco Urenya, is going to depart Central Coast Stadium.
Well, dynamic first half. Got the goal. 2 or 3 other scintillating pieces of play. It hasn't started with the freshness needed in this second half. Alu Kual will certainly bring that.
Should be very happy with his efforts. Like I said, he was outstanding first half. Obviously, he's disappointed being taken off. But when he reflects, you can tell he's not happy. There should be no player in the world that should be happy about being taken off, but he was outstanding in that first half.
Yeah, and equally in defence of Alan Stajcic, he demonstrably dropped his output to start this half. I would have made the same change. And Yanota's the next one to figure if the Mariners can't settle on the ball.
Nisbet tracking after it, and it was the water that just held it inside. the touchline, and here is a free kick for the Mariners.
Look at what he does, Nisbet. Look at what he does. He turns a disadvantage into an advantage purely because of perseverance. The guy's a dynamo.
Taking the pressure off his team.
Look at this, he's everywhere. He gets to the ball, keeps it in. Kilkenny thinks he was interfered with first, might have a case. And that's why he blows up. But if anything, Nisbet wins the favour of the referee because of his positivity.
And Richard Garcia, the Glory coach, was running down the sideline. It's in the naughty books at the moment with the referees. Stephen Lucas, the fourth official, is having a conversation with him. Pretty heated exchange at that. In the meantime, it's De Silva delivering high, and Reddy takes it well considering these conditions.
Excellent goalkeeping.
Corneroli now links up with Kilkenny. It's really one of the first times in this second half. You can remember the Mariners down the southern end of Central Coast Stadium.
Just before you have to mention it, who won that ball for the Mariners in transition again? Nisbet.
Bodnar, 20-year-old, returns it to Reddy under pressure from Quoll. Sends Reddy sprawling to the turf.
Worth a go. Worth a go. Liam Reddy, professional enough to realise he was under the heat. He took the hit. He took it like a pro. No carry on at all, and good on Alu Quoll for putting defenders, goalkeepers under this sort of heat. Liam Reddy, not that he's been casual about this, but he'll be even less so if he's tempted next time with Quoll around.
100%.
So the oldest man on the pitch helping the youngest man on the pitch up.
There you go.
The 39-year-old and the 19-year-old. Alu Quoll. Tongic scuffs that clearance. And it's a little reminiscent, Harps and Bozza, of what we saw on Monday night against MacArthur. The Mariners had that poor period at the start of the second half, invited pressure, and MacArthur probably should have punished them at some point. They didn't, and Matt Hatch scored the sealer late.
Yeah. Yeah, it is an issue that's not going away in a hurry for the Mariners, and the problem is the halfway line. And in the first half, when the game sort of hasn't set into a pattern, they're really hurting teams in transition. Simon to Arena, Bowman bursting, De Silva bursting. Get to the second half, I'm not sure if they just lose a little bit of edge or a little bit of fatigue, but they're not securing the centre of the field in transition, and that's the big problem for them. And that's the difference from one half to the next.
Yeah, that's an excellent point that Andy makes. But from the positive side of that, they've been excellent in all games, you know, not just in staying in the fight, if you like. It's so important. Just like it's so important when you have dominance, like they had in the first half, to make that count on the scoreboard. And you've mentioned this before too. We were talking about Newcastle some weeks ago. When you're under pressure, the longer you can stay in the fight, you're not conceding a goal. It's such a.
Reddy put under some pressure.
He's done well with it. It's such a source of confidence for the whole team, because you know you're going to get your time during play, and you're going to get your opportunities. Yeah, it's so important. You see a lot of teams these days, they're playing in a certain way. They lose a goal, and all of a sudden they go chasing. They lose another goal, and then they lose another, and it's all over. You know, even if sometimes you lose a goal, okay, you steady yourself, get yourself back on track. You will have your time. And this is why Kai Rolls and Rowan Tonyic, we've said before, I mean, Birighetti, Clisby and Negro, you have to say all of them have been outstanding for them.
Tonyic darts past a couple. He and Mark Birighetti, the only Mariners to have played every minute this season. Bowman sliding in there, and Bowman equal with Danny De Silva. Most assists for the Mariners this season on 4. Really impressive in the first half. Got into good areas, did Bowman, but in the second, as has been the case for the Mariners, it's been hard going. Zanuck. Pressure from Kilkenny. How good is he? Neil Kilkenny there in the midfield, picking off the ball, and Glory have a real chance to rush forward through D'Agostino. Runs past the ball. Great chance for Fornaroli, and he went for the trick shot. The Rabona. And he's fluffed it.
Well, it was just superb from Keogh to D'Agostino. I just love watching this. Look at Keogh, head up, picks the moment and the angle just perfectly. You don't get a better through ball than that. And maybe the conditions were playing on Nick's mind a little bit to not round the keeper or finish first time. Nevertheless, he's still set up Fornaroli for the potential to complete the brace, and the Rabona didn't quite work. That was the moment for Perth. That's the warning for the Mariners.
Do you think some remotes were thrown over in the West watching that? What an opportunity for Perth Glory. But that's Bruno Fornaroli, isn't it? He's got that kind of flair. And on that occasion, it was a moment that ended in despair for Perth Glory.
That's it again, a prize example. Mariners just lost that sharpness. Bowman on that occasion. Run down. See if he can make amends now.
Nisbet. Here he is. Bowman. Qual in the middle. With the first time ball, did Bowman. Had it found its intended target, Alu Qual would have had a one-on-one opportunity with Reddy.
Flair or no flair, I hope for Bruno Fornaroli's sake that they do not lose this game, put it that way. I don't think you're going to have a particularly happy teammates, number one, or your coaching staff, and especially your supporters.
It wasn't like it was an open goal as well. There was two Mariners putting the pressure on us. Here's a chance for Qual. In the meantime, Liam Reddy is absolutely blowing up at Nick Sullivan. He's fired up the Glory goalkeeper.
Wow. What a moment that was for the Mariners. Matty Simon arced his run magnificent. Look at the position he takes up. Shoulder round, facing the field. Attacking option in front of him. That is a delightful ball. And as it's flying over, the whole of the stadium is looking at the player coming in. Alu Qual. I was hoping he went parallel and went the diving header. What a moment that could have been. Again, and a great chance for the Mariners to go clear after dodging a bullet just a couple of minutes ago.
Well, the passion there spilled over as well from Liam Reddy. Was that the right thing to do? I know in the heat of the moment it's difficult. Bozza, did you ever do that to a teammate?
I don't know if I did something that forceful. I've had a go at teammates before, but look, we saw this last week when they were completely on top, which funny enough they are pretty much now. And I said about Kilkenny being a little bit, I thought, over the top with some players having a go, and then after that, you know, pretty much Piscopo straight away scored. Same with this, they're on top here. Maybe it's the frustration, the fact that they should have scored just a couple of minutes early for Fornaroli. I can understand Liam Reddy having a go at him, but then to get into when they're starting to push each other, you know, I think especially from an experienced player to a younger player, you got to be very careful about doing things like that, in my opinion. You can lose younger players, especially these days. You know, these days younger players are built differently than they were, you know, in my time and maybe Liam Reddy's time. But we'll see.
23 years old, Nick Sullivan. Here's a bit of push and shove. So it's really heating up. Simon and Latchman are going at it. It's just a war of words at the moment. Castro coming across just to cool things down.
There'll be a couple of yellow cards here. And Matty Simon will be due one, I'd imagine, for putting his paw on Keisuke Wata. Yep.
So that's 4 for the season for Matt Simon.
Let's watch this, boss.
Let's have a look.
Because you said pre-game, if I'm Richie Garcia, I'm in the ears of Latchman. Get into Matt Simon if you
said
can,
it.
legally.
Yeah, you did.
And that's not legal. But I just wonder if this might...
No, that's definitely. And we've seen this before with other teams. We saw Wellington, but we saw David Ball go over top with it. Obviously, managers saying to them, make sure you don't let Matty Simon intimidate you, bully you, if you like. And he's definitely told him beforehand, and also you sticking up for your teammate as well. So, but you know what? in terms of Central Coast Mariners, the way things have been going in the second half, if this ends up breaking up things a little bit and they get back on top, they look back at it and say, okay, you know, maybe that turned things around.
It does work like that from
sometimes. Yeah, sometimes. And sometimes players are smart enough to know that. You know that, especially Andy, back in your day, there were certain managers who would turn around and say, you know, listen, let's sort of, you know, maybe do a tackle that was a little bit borderline and sort of, you know, sort of make a bit of a melee, if you like, and sometimes it can upset opposition teams.
Yeah, and even if it's not a direct confrontation, Sash Ognanovski was great at this, making a stir out of nothing, making a scene out of nothing. Yeah. If he sensed, and Sash was great at this, if he sensed his team was coming second across the pitch, he'd make a scene out of nothing, a bit of a shirt front, and all of a sudden the electricity would back in the team. And
all of a sudden the team that's on top sort of forget about playing for that split second, and some players can't deal with that.
Is that the football equivalent of the Tommy Raudonikis cattle dog call from State of Origin all those years back?
No.
Kilkenny. And now Bodnar. And D'Agostino curling it around the corner. Sullivan's there to track it down. Now dangerously curled in, looking for the head of D'Agostino. Looking to end that 4-match run without a goal. Otter. Castro taking on Nisbet. Simon and Otter again, almost coming together. Latchman, the Eredivisie veteran. Kilkenny shapes up to pass, now finds Otter. Wilson.
Was it?
Sullivan sized up Clisby, instead moves it to Wilson. So Perth just building nicely here. Kilkenny curling towards Fornaroli. Nisbet will pick it off in midfield. Good first touch from Simon to bring it down around the corner. Bowman after it. Kroll in the middle. Had space there at the moment that Bowman had possession, but that was shot off quickly.
So classy, and that's Simon. So classy.
De Silva has some men out to the right, Simon, and also Negro. Simon's going to place it towards Quoll. Nisbet arrives late. De Silva. Zanuck finds Negro. Now it's the Mariners' chance to build to something. Clisby, not his best ball in, and not really dealt with well by Perth Glory.
Bit of a panic, wasn't it? Bit of a panic. They realised that Luke Quoll's on the field, and they thought anything that's sort of hanging around is likely to sweep, so they ended up tackling each other. Now, this is great news for the Mariners, because this answers the question as to the readiness of Charlie Stensness to be back in action, and the confidence of Alan Stachich to throw him in at this point. A very productive day for Matty Bowman. It did look to be tiring a little bit as well. And Stensness, if he can get back to where he left it, he'll provide some really important balance for the Central Coast Mariners.
So Danny De Silva looking long for the header of Quoll. 4 goals this season from his head. Of the 6 he scored, but couldn't add to it there. Clisby knocking it forward. Little chip over the top from Zanuck. Now he lobs it towards Simon. Latchman had to get a touch on it and did. And Perth get themselves out of a little bit of a pickle. Keogh's in an arm wrestle with Stensness, who's made his presence felt immediately, but not in a legal way.
Pretty hard to tell. I was waiting for the replay to confirm, because watching it live speed, I couldn't split the two and put them on both grappling with each other. Anyway, the ref was able to split that hair.
Negro letting it run. That's the area of the pitch that was of most concern to the referees pre-match. That northwestern corner where the ball's just sitting there. And now D'Agostino! All power from Nick D'Agostino! And Perth Glory are in front on the road. And his 4-match run without a goal is over.
Well, his inclusion has been telling. Came on at half-time, has been full of power, positivity. And again, the Mariners couldn't get the ball safe at halfway. Then they lost their numbers. Keogh allowed to turn. No one goes with D'Agostino. And Birighitti can't cover the near post. His first assignment. Great turn. Keogh's put Birighitti through, put D'Agostino through a couple of times really nicely. He did get a little help with the deflection there off Ruan Tongyik. But it's a superb finish. And where the Mariners were in front and should have gone further in front, now find themselves behind.
He scored freely in the opening part of the season, Nick D'Agostino. They dried up. And in the pouring rain in Gosford, he's found another one to go to 5 for the campaign. But more importantly, it puts Perth in a position where they could take all 3 points. And Nisbet just tiptoeing his way, tricking his way along the byline. Tongyik and Keogh come together. Kurt Am said everything's good at the moment. Keogh still down. Kilkenny's almost going to hit his teammate in the head with the ball, and play will be stopped. The fans aren't happy. We'll have a look back at what went on there. There's a bit of blood as well. You can just see on the fingers of Andy Keogh coming from the face.
Yeah, I just thought this was a really physical challenge between the two. There's a head clash. It's the accident, complete accident. The ref's right to stop it if he sees blood and thinks it's a head injury, but Ruan Tongyik did nothing wrong. It did get a little bit heated thereafter. And such is the tightness of this game. Perth Glory come from behind so far to get themselves in front. They realise the significance of what they've achieved this far. So they're on the edge. And the Mariners wanting to defend a proud home record this season. They're lifting. And you get to those flashpoints, and it could tip. But thankfully, both sets of players, well managed by the ref, credit to him, just settled things down for the time being.
Just 2 defeats at home this season for the Central Coast Mariners in 6. Are they staring down the barrel of a third? Tongyik. And rolls. And Bozanic, you don't see that too often. Dwelled on the ball. And now Perth pushing forward via Nick D'Agostino. And Kai rolls. Superb defending, as has been the case for the majority of the season from young Kai. And now he's lobbing it forwards for the run of Alu Kuol. Latchman had to be quick, ready around the corner.
Well diffused. The game's hitting a crescendo. It's been really good since kickoff. Delayed start. Maybe we should delay every start by half an hour if the players are going to turn up with such quality, such intent.
Can Can the Mariners grab an equaliser here? The ball was searching for Simon, remembering that neither of these two sides have had a draw this season.
Well, they're in control of things at the moment, Perth, not just the scoreboard. Kilkenny's picking up everything. Castro's finding space. The power of D'Agostino has been a bit much for Central Coast to handle. But the Coast still in it, Nisbet everywhere. Matt Simon's shown a couple of classy touches and delivered two beautiful crosses, which might have yielded a goal on another day.
Bazanik. Nisbet chasing hard. Josh Nisbet gets there and stops it from crossing the byline as well. And he's done superbly well there to ensure the Mariners have a corner.
Oh, I tell you what, the work experience kid's been on fire today. There'll be dashboard dolls produced in the local factories. He's just incredible. Dead set. He's capable of running a marathon after this as well. He just does not stop. And that's just the start of it. And he's a really tenacious tackler. His passing's good. His instincts are fantastic.
De Silva and Clisby curling. Simon and Tongyika at the back post. Qual is in there as well. And they find a target. Simon just unleashes, but that was never going to trouble Reddy, rolling along the turf.
Yeah, he was off balance. He wasn't going to get... Well, it would have been a miracle to have got the weight behind that he needed. And a very good half otherwise. But on that occasion, might have been better advised to have tried to tee up a supporting player.
Well, Bozza, in the first half, you predicted how Perth Glory were going to get back into the match. How do the Mariners find an equaliser from here? Down 2-1, final 10 minutes. How would you go about it if you're Alan Stachich?
Sorry, Ben. I think young Casella needs to come on, and they really need to start attacking this left-hand side here at Perth. The side of Otters, because number one, Otters caused so much damage down this left-hand side going forward. I don't want to see him, if I'm a Central Coast supporter or the staff, coming continually down here and causing damage. And I still think he's very get-outable in terms of from a defensive perspective as well. Also, they've got to make sure, coming back to what Harp's point has said all throughout the second half, which has been Perth's second half, that they start to get a grip of the ball. Without the ball, you're not going to do anything about it. And that's where Stensness and Oliver Bozanic need to come into it and get a grip of the ball and start to get themselves down further down that pitch. Because if things keep going like at the moment, Perth deservedly, in my opinion, in the lead, and it's going to stay that way.
What about Matt Hatch? Bozza, you think he's worth bringing on?
I definitely think coming now towards, you have to say, really it's throw to kitchen sink time, so to speak, in this last 10 minutes or so. So I'd be thinking about that. He's only got one more sub occasion as well. I think he's had 2 sub times. Stachich is obviously brought on Qual for Urania and Stenson, so that's 2. He's got one more time. So I'd be throwing on 2, possibly 3. Here's another substitute, speaking of substitutes for Perth Glory.
Yeah, so it's going to be Kieran Bramwell, who debuted. So we just have a look back at this incident. Free kick going the way of Fornaroli. So Kieran Bramwell, who made his A-League debut against the Mariners back in round 10. He's going to replace Andy Keogh, and he is a tall, rangy centre forward. Played his youth football growing up with ECU Joondalup and was playing with the youth side in the NPL men's competition in WA last year. So exciting to see what the 19-year-old can do in his second A-League appearance. Kilkenny giving Sutherland something to chase, and now Castro really could have finished the Mariners off there with a third. Just a couple away from 50 A-League goals, Diego Castro. As Qual, as he brought down by Otter. Ams is coming across, and he's going to award the free kick to Perth Glory, which obviously displeases the home fans.
Well, of course, because accidental or not, Otter took Qual out. Otter takes Qual out. I know Qual's a protected species in Australia. It should have been so then.
And Harps, if you put Qual and Otter together, does that make Quokka? Was famous from Perth, out of Rottnest Island. No, that's terrible. Sorry. Birigidi, and it's been raining for this entire match. And you could just see the water just building up in front of Birigidi there.
Okay, this is the very thing. This is back to when they set themselves up from an attacking perspective. Usually the ball goes to Bozanic, but you can see there, as Bramwell keeping a very close eye on him. Perfectly happy for either Kai Rolls or Tonic to distribute it. Not so happy with Bozanic. This is where Stensness needs to get involved.
Stensness, Negro. Just haven't created one of those gilt-edged opportunities, the Mariners, lately. And that's credit to Perth. You can see Matt Hatch getting ready. In the meantime, Clearsby looping it. Qual with the header. Matt Simon, is there a penalty? Kurt Adams says no. I'm sure the VAR will inspect all of that. Bodnar and Simon both down.
Well, it's a great run and pass. Clisby lobbing the ball in. Qual getting the first there. Well, how's it not a penalty? He's gone straight into his back. He hasn't won the ball.
I think he's headed his head.
Well, whatever.
He has.
He's made no contact with the ball. Anyway, we've seen what we've seen. And now the match officials can make their decision.
Well, Harps, we could just cut out what you said about 2 minutes ago involving Qual and Otter regarding it's accidental, but he's still taken the man down. So Kurt Adams is just having a chat with Chris Griffiths-Jones, who is the VAR. Will he be summoned to the sideline? Let's hope Matt Simon and also Luke Bodnar are okay, because both of them came off worse for wear. So Kurt Adams is going to have an inspection. And you sense this could well be a penalty for the Central Coast Mariners.
Yeah, well, let's see, but I'm happy that he's been encouraged to have another look, because it's at least worth that. Now, Kurt Adams can see this other angle now. Did I miss something? Is it compelling evidence? It is to me, but there's contact in the back on Matt Simon. There's no contact on the ball. If that's not a foul, then the way I read the game, there's such a thing doesn't exist. But at any rate, Kurt Adams now looking at the screen.
And if the penalty is awarded, it's devastating for the man on debut, Luke Bodnar, because he's been
good, really good,
outstanding, hasn't he? Centre back.
But the only thing that I think could go in his favour is that the contact comes after Matt Simon has touched the ball, and the ref might think, well, Matt Simon had lost the ball before the foul. That's the only thing that I can see. Otherwise, it's contact in the back.
Well, does the contact come before the ball touches him? It looks simultaneous there. Well, you really feel for Luke Bodnar if the penalty is awarded.
What's unequivocal here is that there's no contact defender on ball. That's ruled out completely. It was never in question, and it's just completely confirmed once again here.
Well, here we go. It's a penalty.
Took his time. Now I've said I think that's the right outcome, Boz.
Yeah, for me it was 100% penalty, and I think that you know, I know Bodnar would have went into the back of his head, and there would have been obviously some type of sort of pain or whatever there, but his reaction told the story. I think he knew he was in trouble, and that's why he stayed down for a little bit of extended time. Yes, he has been outstanding, but for me, he's got no chance to get the ball, and he goes straight through the back of him with some type of force. It has to be a penalty.
He's 7 from 9 from the penalty spot in his A-League career, Matt Simon. 5 goals in his last 6. Make it 6 in 7. Matty Simon locks it all up. Who else?
Well, unfortunate again for the kid. Bodnar has been very good here today for Perth. And 2-2 going into stoppage time, I think's about right on the balance of play. I don't really understand why it took so long to confirm that as a penalty, but you always start to lose your nerve when the time does tick on. Matty Simon didn't lose his nerve. Very strong from the spot. Still time for a winner, of course. And Matt Simon's penalty has put the game on the ultimate edge.
So 6 for the season as we see Michal Janota replacing Danny De Silva. So the goal has just changed Alan Stajic's decisions around substitutions, because it seemed as though Matt Hatch may have been coming on as well. It will be Janota, the Pole, who is out there now, just to finish off on Matty Simon. If he gets 7 this season, it will be his best goal-scoring year since the 10-11 campaign, and also the 08-09 campaign, where he scored 11 goals in both of those seasons. So that shows you what a breakout year it's been for Matty Simon at the ripe old age of 35. Just incredible. So 5 minutes of additional time, already over 90 seconds chewed up of that. And danger moments! Oh! The Mariners almost gave up 3 points right then and there.
Good heavens. Good heavens. It's a great effort from Sullivan swinging that ball, and it's amazing calmness from Tongic. Killed the ball beautifully. Then expected Birighitti to swallow the thing up, and he waited for Tongic to clear it. And before you knew it, they were about to lose the game.
So the smoke from the cannon just sits in the air above Central Coast Stadium. The suspense builds. 2.5 minutes remaining now. Potentially a little more. Qual. Perth pinch it back. Bramwell onto D'Agostino, who put Perth ahead. What a seesawing match this has been in wet conditions on the Central Coast, but both sides have delivered in spades. Tongic. And now Birighitti. Nisbet.
Yeah, that's been a great game, Ben. It took us a while to get it going. Over half an hour, in fact, but the 90 minutes that's followed has been really, really excellent. Perth having lost their last 2 matches, one of which at home against the Mariners. Come from behind to lead.
Nisbet and Stenstis. Link up, is there a handball from Kilkenny? Oh, wow. Stenstis has a strike. Falls to Nisbet. Nisbet! And ready. Right there, right spot to make the save, but I'm sure in the meantime the VAR will be inspecting what happened with Neil Kilkenny in the box. Oh, what drama on the Central Coast.
An amazing run from Nisbet.
And Kurt Ams, he's not running over to the sideline to check the monitor. He's gone over to break up a little bit of a scuffle which involved Fornaroli and Stensness. Play goes on. Here it is.
No, not going to be handball. Good decision.
Great decision from Kurt Ams, and now the strike from Wilson, claimed by Birighitti.
Wow. Mate, this is fitting of a championship decider, this one. The edge, both teams fighting so hard.
Is this it? We don't get any more football. Well, we do. There's another A-League match coming up straight after this, but none here from the Central Coast in maybe seconds, potentially minutes time. For the first time this season, it's a stalemate for the Mariners and Glory. And in awful conditions, both sides produced a superb display of football, unable to be split. And all the fans are pretty appreciative that this one got on this afternoon. It was in some doubt. Seesawing, but finishes all level. Full time, Central Coast Mariners 2, Perth Glory 2. And Harps summed that one up for us.
Wow, what an enjoyable couple of hours. Great way to spend your Sunday afternoon, and let's just hope that's a precursor for the game that follows, because that was just great stuff. Perth showed enormous character. Lost 2 in a row, one of them at home against the Mariners. Unconvincing.